What if I told you the most famous WWII Aviation movie is not even in the top 5? That is right. No Memphis Belle, no Battle of Britain, no Dunkirk. Those films are great, but they overshadow real gems. Today, we rank 12 true aviation classics. Some are black and white, some are foreign. Some will make you angry we place them so low. Disagree with me? Good, that is the point. Number 12. Katohayabusa Sentotai, 1944. This Japanese film is a rare wartime production. It follows Captain Kato and his Hayabusa fighter squadron. The movie celebrates real pilots who flew over Burma and China. You see authentic Ki-43 Oscar aircraft. The aerial footage is stunning for 1944. Real Japanese Army pilots performed many stunts. The story focuses on teamwork and honor. There is no anti-American propaganda here. Instead, the film shows pilots as dedicated warriors. They face bad weather and enemy Spitfires. The dogfights feel raw and immediate. One sequence shows a pilot landing with a shredded wing. Another scene captures a dawn takeoff through jungle mist. The acting is sincere, not overdone. Modern viewers may find the pacing slow, but the flying sequences hold up beautifully. This movie influenced later Japanese aviation films. It also gives Western audiences a rare perspective. You see the Zero fighter from the other side. The final battle is tragic and heroic. Few copies survived the war. Today, it is a cult treasure. For fans of classic air combat, this is a must-see. It proves that great aviation cinema transcends nationality. Number 11. The War Lover, 1962. This film does not treat a bomber pilot like a clean hero. It studies him like a warning sign. Steve McQueen plays Buzz Rickson, a B-17 pilot who is brilliant in the air and almost impossible to live with on the ground. His crew trusts his skill, but they also fear the thing inside him that seems to come alive only when engines are roaring and flak is bursting around them. That is what makes The War Lover so uncomfortable. It asks whether some men survive war because they hate it, or because some part of them secretly needs it. The aerial scenes feel tense and heavy, with bomber crews trapped inside metal, noise, oxygen masks, and fear. The movie also shows the emotional damage war leaves behind before the war is even over. Friendships crack. Romance becomes escape. Courage begins to look dangerously close to obsession. For aviation fans, this is not just another combat film. It is a darker portrait of the men behind the controls, and it earns its place because it dares to say something most heroic flying movies avoid. Sometimes the most dangerous pilot is not the enemy in the clouds, but the man leading your own formation. Number 10, For the Moment, 1993. This Canadian film is a hidden gem. It follows young airmen training in Manitoba. They fly obsolete biplanes before graduating to bombers. The story mixes romance with wartime pressure. A pilot named Lachlan falls for a local woman, but her husband is missing in action. This love triangle adds emotional weight. The aviation sequences are phenomenal. You see tiger moths and fleet finch aircraft. The training accidents feel terrifying. One pilot crashes into a barn, another freezes at the controls. The film shows how raw these recruits were. They had just weeks of training. Then they shipped overseas. The Battle of Britain looms over every scene. The flying cinematography uses natural light. You feel the cold Canadian wind. One thrilling sequence shows a mock dogfight gone wrong. Planes buzz treetops at full throttle. The final act is heartbreaking. Lachlan must choose love or duty. For the moment never got a wide release. But aviation fans treasure it. The director was a pilot himself. That authenticity shines through every frame. If you love character-driven war films, seek this out. Number 9, The One That Got Away, 1957. This British war film flips the usual aviation story on its head. Instead of following an Allied hero, it follows Franz von Vera, a German fighter pilot captured by the British after being shot down. What makes the film fascinating is not just the escape plot, but the psychology behind it. Von Vera is arrogant, sharp, and almost impossible to intimidate. He treats captivity like another mission, studying guards, routines, uniforms, and weaknesses with the same focus a pilot uses in combat. The aviation scenes are brief, but the whole film is powered by a flyer's mentality: speed, calculation, risk, and refusal to stay grounded. His escape attempts become a different kind of dogfight, only this time the battlefield is train stations, prison camps, snow-covered roads, and suspicious officers. What makes The One That Got Away stand out is its cold restraint. It does not turn von Wehr into a simple villain or a heroic saint. It presents him as a skilled enemy pilot whose discipline makes him dangerous, even without a plane. That unusual perspective gives the film its bite. In a list full of aircraft, this one reminds us that a pilot's real weapon was not always the machine. Sometimes it was nerve. Number 8, A Guy Named Joe, 1943. This fantasy war film is unusual, but powerful. A dead pilot named Pete becomes a guardian angel. He guides a young hotshot flyer from the afterlife. The flying sequences are based on real WWII combat. You see P-38 Lightnings and P-40 Warhawks. Pete died during a mission gone wrong. Now he watches over his girlfriend too. The romance is sweet, without being silly. The real magic is the aerial advice. Pete whispers tactics into the young pilot's ear. "Break left now," he says. "He can't see you below." The dogfights feel like chess matches. One incredible scene shows a bomber formation under attack. Pete's pilot dives through flak to save a friend. The special effects are simple, but the emotion is huge. Steven Spielberg later cited this film as an influence. He used its ideas for Always. A Guy Named Joe is not pure aviation, but the flying scenes are top tier, and the spiritual twist makes it memorable. It reminds us that pilots never truly leave the sky. Number 7, The Purple Plane, 1954. Gregory Peck stars in this Burma campaign thriller. His character is a burned-out pilot. He has lost all fear of death. That makes him reckless and dangerous. The story follows a desperate bombing mission. Peck's plane crashes deep in enemy territory. The survivors must walk to safety. But the real star is the aircraft. You see de Havilland Mosquitoes. These wooden wonders were fast and fragile. The takeoff scene is pure anxiety. The engine sputters, then roars. The bomb run over a Japanese airfield is intense. Flak bursts fill the screen. After the crash, the film becomes a survival drama. The jungle heat is oppressive. Peck's character finds a reason to live. A beautiful nurse gives him hope. The final rescue sequence uses a real RAF plane. It lands on an improvised strip. The propeller nearly hits the trees. The Purple Plane is a psychological study. It shows how war breaks men. Then it shows how flying can heal them. Gregory Peck never looked more haunted. This movie deserves more love. Number 6, A Yank in the RAF, 1941. This early wartime film blends action with charm. Tyrone Power plays an American who joins the Royal Air Force. He wants adventure and women, not patriotism. The story follows his transformation. He starts as a cocky pilot. He ends as a hero of the Battle of Britain. The flying sequences are spectacular. Real Spitfires and Hurricanes fill the screen. One long take follows a dogfight over the channel. You see German bombers dropping their payloads. You see a pilot bail out over water. The romance with Betty Grable feels dated, but the aviation footage is timeless. The film used actual combat footage from the RAF. Some sequences show real crashes. The director was a pilot himself. He knew how to frame aerial battles. A Yank in the RAF was propaganda, of course. It encouraged Americans to support Britain, but it works as pure entertainment. The final mission over France is thrilling. Power's character flies a crippled plane home. He lands with one wheel and no brakes. That scene still makes audiences cheer. For fans of Golden Age Hollywood, this is a must. Number 5, Angels 1-5, 1952. This British film is the most realistic Battle of Britain movie ever made. Forget the explosions of Hollywood. Angels 1-5 focuses on the ground crews and radio operators. You feel the tension in the operations room. Plotters move wooden markers across a map. Then you cut to the cockpits. The air combat is sparse but terrifying. Young pilots scramble to intercept German raids. They climb through clouds at full throttle. The film uses real Spitfires and Hurricanes. No models, no CGI. One sequence shows a pilot chasing a Dornier bomber. He runs out of ammunition. He rams the enemy with his wing. That actually happened in 1940. The acting is understated and British. No grand speeches, just duty. The title refers to a radio code. Angels 1-5 means altitude 15,000 feet. The film is a cult favorite among historians. It shows the RAF as a team, not just a bunch of heroes. The final battle is a masterclass in editing. You never see the enemy's face. You only see their planes. That makes it more haunting. Seek out the restored version. The sound of those Merlin engines is pure heaven. Number 4, Captains of the Clouds, 1942. James Cagney stars in this tribute to Canadian bush pilots. These rough men flew without maps or radios. They landed on frozen lakes and rocky ridges. When WWII began, they joined the Royal Air Force. The film follows their transformation from loners to team players. The training sequences are incredible. You see pilots learning to fly from the back seat. You see them crash into trees and walk away. One scene shows a massive formation takeoff. Dozens of planes rise from a muddy field. The cinematography is vibrant and sharp. The aerial dogfights are staged over real Canadian landscapes. Cagney plays a hothead who must learn humility. His final act is genuinely moving. The film ends with the first Ferry Command flight. Pilots deliver Hudson bombers across the Atlantic. That mission changed WWII Aviation. Captains of the Clouds was shot in Technicolor. The blue sky and green forest pop off the screen. It is part adventure, part elegy. And it honors real pilots who never got Hollywood fame. Number 3, Only Old Men Are Going to Battle, 1973. This Soviet classic is a masterpiece. It follows a Soviet fighter squadron flying Yak-1 and Yak-9 planes. The pilots are young, but their leader is old. He is a veteran of the Spanish Civil War. He plays the accordion between missions. The film mixes humor with heartbreaking loss. Pilots sing songs and chase girls. Then they face Messerschmitts at dawn. The aerial photography is stunning. Real Soviet aircraft perform inverted spins and head-on passes. One scene shows a pilot landing without a canopy. Snow covers his frozen face. Another scene features a funeral for a friend. The whole squadron flies above in missing man formation. That image is unforgettable. The film's title comes from a famous line. An old mechanic tells young pilots, "Only old men are going to battle. You will return." But many do not return. This movie is beloved across Russia. It has no Western propaganda. It shows Soviet pilots as human, not communist statues. The final dogfight is 15 minutes long. No music, just engines and gunfire. You will cheer and cry. Seek out the subtitled version. Even without knowing Russian, you will understand. Number 2, 30 Seconds Over Tokyo, 1944. This is the definitive Doolittle raid film. It tells the true story of B-25 bombers launched from an aircraft carrier. The first half covers training. Pilots learn to take off in just 500 feet. That sequence is nerve-wracking. The plane shakes and strains, then lifts. The second half is the raid itself. The bombing run over Japan is shot with real footage. You see factories explode and fires spread. The crew then crashes in China. The survival story is gripping. One pilot loses a leg, another hides from Japanese patrols. Spencer Tracy plays General Doolittle as a calm genius. The aviation realism is unmatched. Real B-25s perform every maneuver. No models were harmed because they used actual aircraft. The famous takeoff scene was filmed on a real carrier deck. The wind was strong and the actors were terrified. That fear is real on screen. 30 Seconds Over Tokyo won an Oscar for special effects. It remains the gold standard for bomber movies. Watch it for the courage. Watch it for the roar of those twin engines. This is WWII Aviation at its purest. Number 1, Tora, 1970. This is the greatest WWII Aviation movie ever made. It tells the Pearl Harbor attack from both sides. Japanese and American filmmakers worked together. The result is a documentary-like accuracy. No romance, no melodrama, just history. The flying sequences are breathtaking. Real Zeros and Vals dive on real battleships. The filmmakers restored original Japanese aircraft for the film. The attack scene lasts 40 minutes. It shows wave after wave of planes. Bombs hit the Arizona. Torpedoes slam into the Oklahoma. The American pilots scramble too late. Their P-40s and P-36s fight back, but the damage is done. One dogfight shows a Zero chasing a Warhawk through hangars. That was filmed without CGI. Real pilots flew mere feet above the ground. The film avoids heroes and villains. Both sides make mistakes. The Japanese admiral fears waking a sleeping giant. The American commanders ignore radar warnings. Tora failed at the box office. But time has been kind. Today, it is a textbook for aerial filmmakers. Every modern war movie owes it a debt. For aviation fans, this is the holy grail. Watch it loud, watch it wide, and remember history. That is our list of the best WWII Aviation movies. Did we miss your favorite? Tell us in the comments. Subscribe for more classic film deep dives. Hit the bell so you never miss a takeoff. Fly safe and watch great movies. See you next time.